Hello, everyone, and welcome to Outspoken Saturdays here at the Boston Public Library in the Newsfeed Cafe. Now, I know we're in a library, and typically people are like, hey, I gotta be quiet, but no. Now is the time to make all of the noise. We have some folks up top that are watching and looking down, so hey, friends. Also understand that your smiling faces are on camera. Yeah, say hello. Look at y'all, look at y'all. Yes, wave your hand, say hi. Yes, 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 yes. So just know we want all of that beautiful energy. I know it is a rainy Saturday here on April 5th, but we need all of the energy, the vibes, the snaps, the yes, the go off poet. We need all of that energy. With that being said, my name is Amanda Shea, and I will be your host for today. For those who are not familiar with spoken word poetry, it is a form of performance in which speakers express themselves verbally on a certain topic. Throughout the year, we have been centering our poetry around what matters to you. Can anybody tell me what matters to you? Democracy. What else? Community. What else? Connection. I like that one. Clock it. I also heard love back here. Love. Yes, love. Okay, we're here for the love. With that being said, that is GBH's tagline, What Matters to You. This month, we are celebrating National Poetry Month. Can we make some noise for National Poetry Month? Which I'm not gonna hold you. I'm really excited for. As a poet, National Poetry Month, poetry is saving lives one day at a time, one word at a time, one scheme at a time. From Maya Angelou to Langston Hughes to even Edgar Allan Poe, we honor the poets of the past while holding space to those shaping the craft today. To celebrate, we've invited some space makers from the Boston poetry community to share their stories. After their talks, they will read selected poems followed by performances from eight other spoken words all around Boston, Massachusetts. Can we get some noise for that? When we speak about space makers, we truly mean space makers. We brought together three incredible leaders. Jadi Amazi, Myles Taylor, and Crystal Valentine. Each of these poets not only create space in Boston where poets can perform and connect and collaborate, but they're also artists themselves. Can we get a round of applause for our first speaker, Jadi Amazi? I need some more noise than that because y'all don't understand. I have this thing where I'm like, we got to give flowers while folks are here. And this is definitely somebody who has not only created space, but has been doing so for 15 years. Can we give a round of applause for 15 years? Jadi is a principal at Mass Design Group, creating physical spaces such as the Embrace Gun Violence Memorial Project and the Sugar Land 96 Memorial Cemetery, as well as emotional space such as If You Can Feel It, You Can Speak It. Open Mic Movement, Boston's first monthly open mic dedicated to the voices of the LGBTQIA+ communities of color, and continues to serve as one of its three co-hosts for the monthly events. Jadi's work is rooted in celebrating intersectionality, centering belonging, and elaborate space making. Please, one more time, welcome Jadi Amazi. Hi, Jadi. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. You're welcome. I'm happy to be here. Love the weather, even though it's cold and rainy, and I'm very happy to be here during Poetry Month, so thank you.
It's an honor. I want to say, shout out to my team and I for handpicking all three of y'all to come up here this afternoon. We wanted to celebrate y'all because I see the work that you are doing in the community and also inside your homes and inside your spirit. So we wanted to celebrate that and highlight all of you. So I want to first ask the first question, how did you first hear about spoken word, and when did you get involved?
Oh, okay. So now we got to go back a little bit. I hope some folks in here are going to know what I'm talking about when I say this, but I first heard and understood spoken word poetry through Deaf Poetry Jam.
Yes.
And I remember turning on the TV and I was like, wait a minute, what is this? How did we get here? Because obviously I knew about poetry, I knew about written poetry. I had been taught all of these things in school and, you know, read some of the great poets. And then of course, who doesn't understand the culture of hip hop, raised with it and et cetera. But then watching some of these hip hop artists, watching some of these poets, and then watching some folks I had never seen before just dominate this stage on Deaf Poetry Jam, no music accompaniment, just themselves and their words with this vibration, with this cadence, with this like elegance in it. I was like, hold on, I gotta learn how to do this. Like, why didn't y'all tell me this was an option? And so it really changed the way that I wanted to write and the way that I wanted to speak. But quite honestly, even in that moment, I didn't fully understand that I could do that and that open mics existed until I was in college. When a friend was like, oh, come with me to this open mic. And I was like, well, what is that? Nobody told me these things, had no idea. And so it was in undergrad that I found my way into spoken word poetry, performance, open mic, organizing, et cetera.
I love that you said Deaf Poetry Jam because, like, it's showing a little bit of our age. I ain't gonna hold you.
A little bit, and I'm okay with that. I'm all right.
And I'm all right because, you know, it is what it is. But also, I love that you said the poetry with the a cappella feel, because now we see a lot of poets kind of morphing their artistry with musical accompaniment, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But in the beginning was the word, no. But we also saw the last poets that birthed, you know, for those who don't know, hip hop was very heavily influenced by the last poets. And then we also seen, I mean, I know I'm gonna say this name, but Kanye West, who did All Falls Down as a poetry piece that later became a rap song. So with that being said, as a self-proclaimed space maker, how do you find yourself cultivating such a powerful space, and what led you to this role?
Yeah, so I started referring to myself as a space maker in a way to encompass all that I do. So as y'all heard in the bio, outside of poetry, I also work as an architect at an architecture firm here in Boston. That is my, thank you, that is my professional formal training, if you will, and really wanted a way to be able to describe to people what it is that I do in all walks of my life. I make space for other people, whatever that looks like, however that needs to be formed. And through poetry, for me, I love my city. I love all of the mics that are here. I love the history of open mic poetry in this city. But when I first started out as a poet, I felt like I had nowhere to go. I would go into some of the more well-known, renowned open mics in this state, in this city, and I felt like my blackness did not land well in those predominantly white spaces. I felt like my queerness did not land well in those predominantly heteronormative spaces. And I said, I cannot be the only person feeling this way. And I was spitting some fire poems, y'all, okay? Like, you know, they had some heat on them. You know, I might not have been like the best slam poet in the world, but like I had a little something to offer. Still do, but like I could just tell that folks weren't really hearing me or ready to receive the intersectionality that I had embedded in my poetry. And so I said, well, I'm gonna just start my own mic then, like, and see who comes. And so 15 years ago is when I started the If You Can Feel It, You Can Speak It open mic, and became the mother of the mic in that way. And that for me was also a way into this idea of space making, because so many folks would come to the mic and say, I've never been in a space like this before. I've never been to an open mic like this before. This feels like home. This feels comfortable. I feel safe here. I'm gonna read new things here. I'm gonna test things here. I don't feel like I have to perform here. I can just be here. And that to me is how you make space for other people.
Y'all can feel free to clap, snap, and all of the things, because you said a lot of stuff that was a very compounded answer. And I think from the work that we see with Embrace Boston, I mean, you didn't name this, but you were definitely a part of the Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King statue. And when we talk about space and just lifting up the past and also intertwining it into the present, I just want to give you your flowers in real time, because that is really, really difficult to do, not only in your full-time position, but also being able to do that and give that gift to yourself. with that also being said, you were featured in a documentary that's called Black Narratives in Boston's Queer and Trans History, and you are the one who is saying, I made space for the LGBTQIA. We are the first, and to do it for 15 years is just tremendous. I know it's a lot of hard work, and I'm gonna kind of flip this next question. Sorry, Olivia, I know you have questions here, but I'm gonna flip this question and say to you, what is the most complicated part of being a curator and being a container to hold space for folks to feel vulnerable?
That is a good question. I would say there's two challenges or complicated parts to it. I think one is that at some point, you can only do but so much. We set values at the beginning of all of our open mics where we explain to folks, this is how you're supposed to act up in here. If you don't act a certain way, we're gonna call you out on it, right? Like, we set these values, but people are gonna people. People gonna do what they're gonna do, and sometimes when we're telling folks, hey, come here, this is a vulnerable space, we no longer refer to ourselves as a safe space because we realize that safety is relative, but we are a working space. But sometimes there are venues that we go into where the management, the existing crowd that comes into the space, the folks outside of the space, they are not fully ready to receive us, and that is not fully in my control. And so that gets a little difficult depending on where we are and what's happening. And we were home based at the Milky Way in Jamaica Plain, if anybody's familiar with the Milky Way, and we lost that during COVID. And so then we found ourselves bouncing around to different bars and different venues around the city looking for a home, but always questioning, will you receive us in our totality? Are you ready for 30, 40, 60 black folks to pull up here and have a good time and be unapologetic and be loud and be ourselves? Like, are you ready for our queerness? Are you ready for our truth? And that's a hard place to be in. I would say the second thing that's hard is the stamina. I am tired, y'all. Like, 15 years is a long time. Sure is. And so much has changed in my life since I started this mic. And I have to continue to remind myself that you also get to be vulnerable. You also get to show up open and ready and willing. But growing older, having a child, getting married, you start putting up some walls, you start putting up some protective barriers. And so maintaining the stamina for that even when the resources don't match your energy. Right. I cannot tell y'all how many times I have paid features, I have bought food, I have paid DJs out of my pocket willingly, and we'll do it again. But those two things, the not having full control over how others receive you and embrace what it is that you're trying to do, and the stamina, especially related to the resources to continue to do this, those are by far the two major challenges that I experience in this work.
Thank you for your transparency. Do you think that is even your responsibility to push that narrative as far as, come on over here, or should you just allow folks to stay where they're at and find you all and receive your energy when they're ready to?
No, I don't got time to wait for you to, I have to. Yes, and in some respects, find me when you're ready, but also how will you know where to find me if you will probably stay in your comfort zone if I in the world allows you to, and what I'm gonna do is let you catch this blessing by way of our presence. We coming. Yes, that is my responsibility.
I love that answer. I have one last question, and then we get to witness your greatness in poetry form, that is. Is there anything else you would like to share? Any upcoming projects, pieces, any good news?
So much good news. So I would like to share that the mic, if you can feel it, you can speak it open mic. We have been blessed with a grant from the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture. Y'all, yes, please snap and clap. Yes, for the one we're in right now. And so what that allowed us to do was host a monthly open mic at the Civic Pavilion right there on Boston City Hall Plaza. And so we've been there since last June. We're going to be there until this June. We're going to have a big celebration for Pride Month for this grant cycle. But I tell y'all that for two reasons. Like, one, put it on your calendar. Come check us out. Come rock with us, every second Sunday of the month from now until June. But also, I say that because the amount of joy that we have been able to experience in being at the pavilion, having the resources, the abundant resources to be able to really pay artists, to really pay DJs, to have a full-out production, to pay ourselves as hosts, as curators, y'all can definitely clap for that, has been so mind and heart opening for me that I can never go back. And so I say that as a way to say that if you are thinking about supporting poetry events, if you know of grants that other poetry events could be applying for, please put that out in the universe. If you see a $5 cover, if you see a pay what you can, pay on the heavier side of what you can to these spaces, because you really don't understand how liberating it is as a curator, as an organizer, to say, oh, I can pay the artists tonight. Yeah. I can do that tonight. I can feed the whole room tonight, right? And so we're really, really grateful for this opportunity that we've had as an organization to learn from the experience of it all just being good and being taken care of. And so that's what I would say is my announcement, if you will, is that we're still at the Civic Pavilion every second Sunday, and we will be there not tomorrow, but the next Sunday. Yeah. And we are featuring the Youth Poet Laureate here from Boston as our feature for next month, for this month in honor of Poetry Month.
I love that. And I love the fact that you named that you are feeding also the ecosystem. When we pay artists, that money goes back into our community. So with that being said, everyone, please give a round of applause for Jadi Amazi. We are about to hear one of her pieces, so I'm really excited to hear this. So stay tuned while we just adjust ourselves real quick.
So the poem that I'm going to read for you all today is called When Our Mamas Named Us. And I'm reading this poem for two reasons. One, it's one of my ways to introduce myself to people. My name, as you've heard, is Jadi Amazi, but my mother named me Janea Dianya. And so I like to share this poem as a way to talk about why I have renamed myself. But also, I'm feeling my mother's spirit on me today, and I was just explaining to someone over here that typically my mother takes our 3-year-old son on Fridays. God bless her. We drop him off. We go to work. Then we get to do whatever we want on Friday night. We don't have to pick him up till Saturday morning. It's a whoop for that. I heard it. And this morning, my mother texted me. I was like, okay, we're on our way. And she's like, no, we're good. We'll see you later. Maybe tomorrow. I was like, hold on, I got a whole day. And so I just want to read this poem in celebration and in love for my mother by way of introducing myself. So, thank you. It's titled, as I said before, When Our Mamas Named Us. I wonder if when our mamas named us, they knew we would change our names to fit this stage. That when they taught us to spell, we would write love letters for broken hearts. And that when they taught us to talk, we would speak for the silent masses. I wonder if when they watched us walk, they could see us dancing to the music in our hearts. Wonder if when they heard us laugh, they could testify to the passion in our throats. And if when they held our hands, they could sense our powers to heal. I wonder if when our mama saw us cry, they knew then the emotions that we would personify. Wonder if when they witnessed our frustrations, they predicted that we'd be able to transform that into determination. I wonder if when they fed us, they realized we'd have a hunger that can't be satisfied, and that when they encouraged us, we'd be amongst those to be memorialized. I wonder if when they watched us sleep, they knew the colors our dreams would keep. Wonder if when they chastised us, they knew that they were shifting strength. When they corrected us, they were knitting knowledge. When they loved us, they were curating confidence. When they hugged us, they were harvesting humility. When they protected us, they were forbidding fear. And when they smiled at us, they were perpetuating peace. I wonder if when they celebrated our individuality, if they knew that they were initiating creativity, and when they applauded us, they were mobilizing mobility. I wonder if when they demonstrated care, they knew that we would own the means by which to provide it, and that when they taught us our histories, we'd be willing and able to rewrite it, pulling power and peace from all this war and rage. Yes, I cannot help but wonder if when my mama named me, she knew I would change my name to fit this stage. Thank you all so very much. And one more time, happy National Poetry Month, and so much love and appreciation to everybody that made this possible. Thank you all for having me.
Give it up one more time for Jadi Amazi. I'm really excited. Everybody, can we get a temperature check? Can I get a yeah, yeah? Y'all can do better than that. Can I get a yeah, yeah? I know that's right. With that being said, are y'all ready for our next panelist? Are you sure? Okay, I heard a woo! Okay, great. With that being said, please welcome to the stage, Crystal Valentine! I'm gonna read the bio real quick. Crystal Valentine is an award-winning spoken word poet and creative in the Boston area who currently serves as the Mass Poetry Program Director. Give it up, give it up, give it up. Her work centers around creating safe spaces for queer, indigenous, and peoples of color to create. Can we get another round of applause for Crystal Valentine? How you doing?
I'm doing really good. I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being here. Now, I know you tired because you just finished up the Mass Poetry Slam, the youth festival with Mass Poetry, and you're getting ready for the Mass Poetry Headliner Event Festival as well. And I just saw the lineup, and it is stacked. How are you feeling for real?
I need a nap. Very, very badly. But I think that I'm feeling very full. I think that I'm in a place where all of these things that I've been wanting to manifest for myself is finally happening. And sometimes, like when we're younger, when we're trying to grow into the people that we want to be, we're like, I want this, I want that. And sometimes I say to myself, well, when it finally happens, I need to make sure I'm ready to accept it. So that's kind of like the space that I'm in right now, making sure that I can accept all of these blessings that has been coming for me and that I've been working very, very hard for.
Crystal, you deserve all the abundance that's raining on you right now. And I believe that you are so ready for it. Like I asked Jadi in the first round of questions, how did you get introduced to poetry, especially spoken word, and what about the craft was enticing to you?
Yeah, so I was actually a youth poet. I started writing poems myself when I was in second grade because I just didn't really feel understood. And I remember in high school, I went to a Boys and Girls Club. Shout out to the Boys and Girls Club. We need these spaces for young people. One day I realized that there was a bunch of like really cool kids at the Boys and Girls Club. And I was like, what are they doing? They're doing poems. And after that, I got involved with, so I'm from the Bronx, I'm from New York. So I got involved with the New York youth scene. I spent a lot of time just on YouTube, kind of figuring out what poetry I liked, what poetry I could do. The thing that I love about poetry is that I get to tell the world who I am for myself. Sometimes you walk into these rooms and someone already, puts a definition on you, puts a label on you. And it's not to say I'm not authentic. It's not to say that I'm crafting, the person I want to, appear as in the room. But that's important for us to label for ourselves who we want to be and to declare who we want to be to the world. And as a young poet, that was really important for me because, I grew up in the Bronx. I was called ghetto. I was called too black. At the time, I didn't know it, but people could see how queer I was. And I was still shifting into the person who I wanted to be. So it's really important to name for yourself who you are.
That answer is everything. I also just want to name that you named that you were a youth poet, and one thing that I saw at the festival, and maybe it's a little personal, but I'm gonna name it anyways. I saw a youth poet having a really, really difficult time after their performance, and the way that you handled that, it was very just, it was mothering. The way that you took this young person to the side and just was like, I want to make this space safe for youth poets because I understand that slam sometimes was not always nice. Can you just elaborate a little bit on what your experience was as a youth poet and maybe how that culture sometimes can deter us a little bit from participating?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started again in second grade, right? But when I got, I guess, quote unquote, good enough for people to recognize me, I was about 16 years old, and that's still pretty young. I was 19 years old when I became the Youth Poet Laureate of New York City. And
Wait, say that one more time. How old was you?
I was 19 years old when I became the Youth Poet Laureate of New York City. And one thing that I sometimes say is that, we have these child labor laws, but I was kind of like in the poetry world before people really understood what it meant to care for a young person in an adult world. Adults were looking to me for answers, and I did not know how to give it to them. And I think about my experience, like, did they do the best that they could? Yes. Was I always safe? No. Did people consider what it meant to have a young Black queer girl in an adult world trying to navigate that? No. And it was really hard for me. And I actually had to take a break away from poetry because at the time I was 21. I was, getting the attention that I wanted, but I did not feel cared for or held or respected. And I need to let people know, when you have a young poet, a young person in these spaces, they too deserve to feel respected. They do not deserve to feel undermined, right? So as I got older, I realized, like, what was wrong? First of all, people don't understand vulnerability and how there's a responsibility you have when someone's being open and vulnerable, right? What does it mean to tell someone, go on the stage and talk about your trauma, but not be able to hold them afterwards and have them walk into their own homes, into their own lives, into their own schools, also carrying that trauma. So with the Teen Festival, and it was this past March 15th and March 16th, you were there. Some of our other panelists coming up was there as well. I'm always thinking about, what does it mean to be safe? The thing about safety is that it's not guaranteed. I love what Jadi said about understanding that there's no guaranteed safe space. I personally don't believe in a safe space, but I believe in working towards a safer space. And that's kind of like what I wanted to do for these young people. That young person that you referenced, she's an incredible poet. She did something on stage that she didn't realize was a violation. She had some points deducted. And I can understand that when you want something so badly and you're so caught up in your own moment that you're not thinking about rules or points or scores. So I took her aside and I told her, good job. Because sometimes that's really what you need to hear. You did the thing you wanted to do. You went on that stage, you told your story, people applauded you, people were moved by it. Good job. And how can we move forward? And also, that young person will get the opportunity that she wanted, which is to be on our youth team. And I made sure of that.
That brings me to my next question. Why mass poetry?
I think it's because I believe, okay, let me back up. I believe in paying dues. So we all know that. So when I first started this conversation, I said, I'm from New York. I understand that just because I'm a Black girl does not mean I am not a transplant. Does that mean that when I enter a space, even though the space might be similar to me, I'm still entering a space and entering into a history, and I need to be respectful of that. And I feel like entering into mass poetry, I was able to understand the history. I was able to take accountability for where our organization fell short, and I was also able to plan towards a better future. I'm never afraid to say, hey, we could have done that better. hey, the last time we did that, it wasn't the best, but how can we improve so that it's always a safer space for people? So I'm really happy with Mass Poetry because we get to expand beyond just Boston. We get to expand towards the Commonwealth. And I think that Boston has a lot of opportunities. You know, cities outside of Boston does not. And it's really important to always reach towards that access point as well.
I love your contribution to mass poetry. It is definitely felt and seen. What is the most rewarding part of that for you?
I guess the most rewarding part, so I work specifically with young people, but I work with all ages, especially with Mass Poetry. We have our Massachusetts Poetry Festival coming up, all ages. I guess it's really seeing people step back into their own confidence. You wouldn't believe how many times someone was told no before they entered into a space like mine when they were said yes. And it's really important to always try to give different opportunities to people. You never know when someone is like really 1 second away from just quitting it all. Whatever that means for them, right? Either quitting that opportunity that they wanted because they need to provide for themselves, or walking away from something that they really wanted because they have to prioritize their family life or their income, right? So really just access is what I really love, access.
One last question before we wrap up and get into your beautiful piece. How can we support you? I know that you are a 2024 Boston Lab grant recipient, correct?
Yes.
And I heard a little bit about what you're planning to do with your project. Outside of just mass poetry and supporting mass poetry, how can we support you?
So this is gonna be a plug. Can you follow me on Instagram? My name is Valentine 94, so the number's 94 on Instagram. Please give me a follow. I had a very uplifting but hard year. I would say a week prior to receiving the news about the grant, my mother passed away. And the grant is to make a one-woman show dedicated to my mother and the sacrifices that Black women have to make in order to keep their livelihood. So it was a very bittersweet moment. I'm so excited to still continue on this project in her memory. I'm hoping that I'll be able to release something into the public in 2026. So just please stay tuned. And I'm very, very friendly. I like anime. I like good music, and I like Kendrick Lamar. So always come talk to me as well. Yeah.
Wait, what's your favorite anime?
Attack on Titan.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
it. Do you watch any of the new? Okay, we're gonna have this offline because I'm are you on a One Piece, Death Note type of?
Well, the thing about if I start One Piece, I will never be able to finish it. It's over 1,000 episodes, but I've been trying to get caught up for a very long time.
With that being said, y'all, please give a round of applause to Crystal Valentine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're gonna hear some of her poetry in a couple minutes.
So this poem, funny enough, Amanda was talking about giving people their flowers while they're living. And this poem actually just so happens to be talking about flowers and who has access to things as simple as nature. So this is called Bronx Heirloom, or All the Old White Poets Love Talking About Flowers, and Why Can't I? I haven't seen a sunflower in real life until 7th grade, when Miss Garcia took our class to the botanical garden, even though we all wanted to go to the Bronx Zoo, so the girls could slip in between the bars of the lion's den and hang out with the boys. We had spent all of 6th period learning how to draw sunflowers, so we would not embarrass our principal by mistaking them for daffodils. The city fenced up the sky so pigeons couldn't crap on the fields of azaleas and magnolias, lobelias and narcissi, and yes, I knew the names of all the flowers I had never seen, spelled strange and unbelievable like Rosanne or Naticia, Demisha or Francina, ghetto black girl names, names mispronounced as weed when translated out of its mother tongue. What is a name but a translation of color? And what other way to know one's true color than through the pronunciation of their names? Locked in that conservatory, our teachers told us we were not allowed to touch anything. Not even the precious, dead-headed flowers awaiting repatriation, their bodies crunching beneath our feet. We returned home in a single foul line. Aphids marching up Fordham Road, weeds that chewed on the concrete, basketball courts, and the project buildings bouqueted in our bodies and our apartments, because we too were bouquets, because we too were the flowers, because we too could always be seen and always deserved to be touched. Thank you.
Y'all, please give another round of applause to Crystal Valentine. How we feeling? They dropping gems today, yes? How we feeling about the poetry? I told y'all it's a library, but y'all can speak, y'all can make some noise. How we feeling? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Beautiful. With that being said, I want to welcome our last panelist before we get into the featured poets of Outspoken Saturdays. Please put your hands together for Myles Taylor.
Thank you.
Myles Taylor is a spoken word poet, host, organizer, and educator. As a self-proclaimed glitter enthusiast, Myles shines brightly in their role as president of Boston Poetry Slam. Y'all need to give it up more. We invite them to the stage to talk about their involvement in the organization, the space they have cultivated, and their goals moving forward. I just need to say, I need all of the love and all of the light for Boston Poetry Slam, because that's where so many beautiful poets come out and do their big one. And Myles, outside of just Boston Poetry Slam, you also help with mass poetry. You are always the person that I go to that I'm like, who should I have? Who should I be looking at? You are a great supporter. You show up to almost every single person's events, top tier all the time. So can I please get a round of applause for Myles Taylor?
Thank you so much, Amanda.
You're welcome. It's just me and you. It's just me and you, okay? How did you hear about spoken word poetry, and what enticed you about the art?
So I was always a writer. I was born a writer, whole life. Was writing in different genres. It was really the only way I felt free. I felt like everything in my brain could get out. Spoken word, I was a button kid. I was a button poetry generation. That's kind of how we were finding spoken word back in the day. It's Button Poetry, the YouTube channel, was kind of like, it was a huge sort of distributor of slam work, right? And I grew up in the suburbs of New Jersey. There's like a 1 square mile town. There was just nothing there. And I really had very few opportunities to really show off my work, and so I would just consume just countless amounts of button poetry, and clippings from Def Jam, clippings from Poetry Slam Inc., clippings from Slam Fine's work, a lot of just online. I would found so much and was so inspired by all that. That's how I eventually came to Boston, because that's how I found out about Cupsy, which is how I found out about Emerson College, my my alma mater, So it was kind of a backwards journey there. But Yeah, I wrote a lot, and then I started performing at this like tiny open mic at a nearby town. It was called Cool Beans Cafe in Oradell, New Jersey. It's since closed, but shout out to Cool Beans Cafe. It was like all like ancient white men with guitars doing covers of Oasis songs, and then I'd just go up there like 15-year-old bright pink hair, like stick skinny. Like I'd stand up there visibly shaking, and I would just like shout these wild poems, and everyone would be like very confusedly like appreciative. They'd kind of like give me like a really confused applause. And like that first time reading a poem out loud, like I just remember this silence that involved an intake of breath, and it was the most powerful I had ever felt in my life. And I think everything I do is trying to capture that moment again and capture that amount of power and empowerment again. Yeah.
Oasis Wonderwall is one of my favorite songs. I'm not going to
It's kind of a banger. I mean, you really have to admit it, but once you hear it too many times by too many different mouths, it definitely shapes into a different form.
As your current role right now about Boston Poetry Slam, and as we heard from, Crystal, and it seems like all three of you all dibble dabble in different genres of poetry, which I absolutely respect and love. I just found out what a palindrome poem was, and it's hard, okay? So can we talk about Boston Slam poetry and, your role in that and how much you have given to the space?
It's a tough role. Boston Poetry Slam is the third oldest poetry slam in the country. It dates back. Yeah, it's the truth. It is older than me. You can date it back to 1989, but it existed in its form at the moment every Wednesday night at the Cantab Lounge since 1992. Yeah. And I took it over post-pandemic. The person before me ran it for 15 years, retired, and then the person before them ran it for God knows how long. And it's a really beautiful space. It's a legacy space. It's the kind of space that you open the doors and people just arrive. Really, I haven't had to lift a finger to get just people in the door, but what I've been having to lift fingers for is to make it a space that is welcoming and open and loving. And everyone knows it's been around Boston. At Cantab's, it's a beautiful spot, but it's had problems. Really, all I want is to make it a space where everyone feels comfortable, and we're working towards that. And a big part of that is admitting when I am not the expert, admitting when I need to delegate, admitting when I need help, and listening to others and listening to feedback and really making myself available. And a part of making yourself available is doing the work of just showing up everywhere all the time, seeing what other people are doing, seeing what people are doing that's going well, just seeing what people are doing that like could help what I'm doing, and then just creating this like sort of village effect of like a community-driven space, and really just doing my best to make that a reality.
Me personally have definitely experienced the Cantab, and there's so many beautiful poets, like I said prior, that are coming and emerging out of that space, and even the ways of which that you all showed up in there was a big group. Y'all came to City Winery for Voices in Power, stacked. And most of your group actually made it up on the stage to spit their poems. And I'm telling you, it was just an incredible night. I love that you named that the Cantab Lounge had some of its challenges, but I think, that's almost any space, and like we named before, safety isn't always guaranteed, right? But we try to make sure that it's a working space and that we have comfortability, vulnerability. As the president, because you didn't name that, as the president of Boston Slam Poetry, what are some things that you're looking to see that makes it, a little bit more welcoming, if you will?
I just want people to feel comfortable telling me when they think something can be better, when something can be different. I want people to be able to approach me and tell me about what they think genuinely of that space, because I'm a big people pleaser, and taking feedback is always, hard for everybody, but like what I really just want is for people to try and help make that space theirs. And we've been on a journey the last few years, really just trying to grow it and change it up, because it has a format, a really classic format, open mic, feature, slam. And, we are doing a lot of things really, really well. Our slam team, champions last year, probably champions this year. We'll see. I'm just gonna name it now. But the work our slam team does is really amazing. Coaching the slam team is one of the most fulfilling parts of this, because you get to see a group of 5 people grow over a series of months and watch their work really like just shine and polish. But yeah, there's not every space is ever going to be accessible to everybody, and I just want to make it I want to get it as close as I can. And that really is delegating and allowing that I'm not always the person that's going to know what to do, and just listening. And so if anyone's ever been to the Cantab and you have thoughts, right? Boston Poetry Slam, like things that could be better, things that could be more, that could just make it more yours, please just let me know. And I want to make it so this beautiful, beautiful space is for everybody. Yeah.
I love that response about accessibility and just coming up to me and letting me know, because a lot of people, like you said, critical feedback or even constructive feedback can be hard for people to take. I have one last question before we wrap up. One thing that I can say that I enjoy a lot about going to the Cantab Lounge is the non-elitism in it. You know what I mean? Like, I can see slam, I can see free verse, blank verse, I can see rhyme verse, I can see all different types of poetry there. And in a city where there's a lot of like tier levels when it comes to academia versus naturally gifted poets, because I got to be honest, there are some people that wake up and they're just naturally talented writers. But I feel like, and I love my city, like Josh said, even though it's not my city, I am a transplant. I'm just going to say that, but I am the most non-Bostonian there is. With that being said, what does that mean to you when you see all of these different types of poets coming into the space and being able to spit so comfortably?
That's the best part of it, and that's what has brought me to Boston Poetry Slam time and time again, is that it's this really special, we like to say that it has a specific sound. We're very narrative forward, we're very craft forward, and the best thing I've heard is that we tell a story. We get up on stage and we tell a story, and it's going to make you laugh, and then it's going to make you cry a little bit, and then it's going to make you think a little bit differently. It's that narrative forward focus is... I don't know. It is very accessible, I think, for people to hear and to say, oh, I get to just tell a story about my life. Like, I can just get on stage and tell a story, and that's a poem. Because, yeah, absolutely, that's a poem every time. And I think it's like the geography, right, of the show. It's in Cambridge, right? We're right by all these institutions. We're right by all these universities, but we're also right by, a lot of other smaller DIY scenes, punk scenes, underground scenes. And it's sort of an amalgamation of all those things that creates this sound that we have, right? And I think it's really beautiful that we can share space doing such different genres. We have people that come up and read sonnets every night, and then we have people that come up and we'll just be spitting off the dome every night. Like it's every... I think that's the best way to become the best writer possible, is to never pigeonhole yourself into one type of writing, to allow yourself to write in every way possible, to experience every type of writing possible, not just in poetry, but every sort of genre, and to really share and take bits and pieces of each and really try to incorporate that, right? Because we all inspire each other. We'll do a lot of after poems with a lot of the regulars at the Cantab. We'll be like, this poem's after so-and-so from last week. And I think sharing each other's styles in that way is kind of what pushes us all forward into trying new things and to continue to grow.
I love that. How can we support you and Boston Poetry Slam?
Yeah, so Boston Poetry Slam is, first of all, every Wednesday night at the Cantab Lounge, 8 p.m. It is 21 plus, sorry for the kids. And then we've got another show. It's every first Monday at the Sam Adams Brewery in Jamaica Plain. It's a little newer. It's called Slam Adams. And that's been a lot of fun. It's a little chiller. It's a little fun, different neighborhood. And that's been really successful thus far. We have an annual tournament called the North Beast Regional that's coming up in July. That's going to have teams from all over Northeast and expand outside of the Northeast because the last few years it's been growing more and more, and people have been emailing me from other places. We're going to have Minnesota this year. We're going to have a team from Canada this year. Australia is coming through this year. Yes, we're having a team from Australia. It's really going to be amazing. And lastly, if you want to support me, I don't know, I got a book. It's called Masculinity Parable. It's through Game Over Books. That's right. Game Over Books is a local Boston-run press. They do incredible work of uplifting Boston literacy and also just publishing the coolest marginalized voices that they can find. And I really, really, even if you don't get my book, you should check out their catalog. And yeah, I appreciate the support. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. And we get to hear one of your pieces. Yes? Yeah. Yes. Y'all give it up for Myles Taylor.
This poem I'm going to do, shout out to the service workers. Shout out to the service workers, servers, bartenders, baristas, dishwashers, hostesses. Yeah, it's for you. So this is called Unskilled Labor. And if I have to pick the book up, everyone's going to be really normal about it. Behold my barber's gilded scissors, a gift from a loyal client. Witness the planning, the economy of the razors on hooks, the barber's heights. The best ones worn-handled, their storage trunks scattered with stickers of old bands resting in dead iPods in coffee table drawers. Come with me to the street. Watch the house painter's pants match every few buildings he passes as if the city is trying to copy him. Peek into the shop windows, witness the crisp folds the floor staff crease into every shirt, the wrangling of the dog walker's 5 leashes, the 2-part movement of the city worker's sticking litter. Come into my restaurant. Admire the server and their patient smile. Plant 2 knocks on the kitchen door, shout, "In," and bear witness. Line cooks seasoned with years of oil and salt, working so smooth they've made it a dance. Clogs 2-stepping while sauce whips a dish. The Sioux Millie rocking a metal bowl into the bus bin. The clang of the skillets to clear the crusted rice in time from the beat coming out of the phone on top of the reach-in. See a hand reach back and be given a spatula it did not ask for. Watch the dishwasher replace the glasses in the blink of an eye while she is FaceTiming her niece. It looks like nothing short of telepathy. The slide through narrow spaces like magnets, all of which are holding a knife, and still conversation flows. Someone just sold a sculpture. Someone has a paper to write. Someone was up until 3 a.m. at their other job performing a whole different dance, a symphony of second nature movements, muscle memorized like their country is a fatigue mat, and they have mapped every corner. I only dream of labor if I can make it beautiful. So I slice every scallion like a gift-wrapped ribbon and roll my eyes at every customer who taps their foot. Skill is love. And do you? Love? Show me yours. Your skill. Walk me through a moment of your day I would not see otherwise. I want to see your method for cleaning a bathroom the quickest. Your filing system. Your best customer service voice. Or do you go home to a sparkling kitchen someone else cleans? Do you eat food someone else cooks? Do you watch shows someone else writes, attend meetings someone else schedules, use programs someone else codes? What do you do? You take. And you hold what you take, and what a skill. Such talent in holding. Thanks, y'all.
Woo! How we feeling? Give it up one more again for Myles Taylor. Wow. Just in case they need to head out, I want to give another big round of applause to our panelists of this afternoon. Jadi Amazi, Crystal Valentine, Myles Taylor. Wow. With that being said, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break to get our set all the way together so that we can hear from our Outspoken Saturdays National Poetry Month poets of this month. We have about 8 of them. It's going to be real good, so stay right where you are or go to the bathroom, and we'll be back in 2 seconds. And we back. Yes, Welcome everybody to Outspoken Saturdays for National Poetry Month. Right now we're going to get into our speakers, so I'm going to welcome up our first poet. Please give it up for Monica D. Vance.
Hello, everyone. My name is Monica D. Vance, and I am a writer, mental health therapist, and I'm a speaker. And I'm going to be reading my poem, Create Now Creative, and it's literally a poem for anybody who creates, whatever your medium is. This is a poem for the creative. It's called Create Now Creative. Create now, creative. Dream now, dreamer. Sing now, singer. Write now, writer. You've sat with blame and shame. You've eaten dinner with imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is a fancy phrase for fear. Fear of being seen as brilliant and fear of being seen as fragile. But show your art now. If you delay its showing, you may lock it away in a basement. You may shove your poem, your song, your dance in the depths of your belly. Release now, artist. Release now, songbird. Release now, creative. Release now. Your world needs to hear your revelations. Your thoughts aren't useless. Your perspective isn't idiotic. Your mind isn't scrambled. I know that you have wondered, am I crazy? Am I flaky? Am I worthy to create art? You've listened to the critics who aren't creatives, but bystanders and even murderers of art. They've misunderstood your brightness and your boldness. They've insulted your dreams. They've never witnessed someone like you in their surroundings. You remind them of their inadequacies. You brighten up the darkness that they like to live in. But you can bloom now. You can escape the soils of doubt and self-hatred now. Dream now, dreamer. Sing now, singer. Write now, writer. Create now, creative. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christie Beckwith. You can find me on Instagram at The Hard Way Poems, all one word. I wrote this poem partially ekphrastic. It's based off of this picture of me and my father, which is probably coming up on like 40 years old. And it's also a memoir of, as a little girl, how you imagine your childhood is this like fantastic romantic thing. It is called Once Upon a Father, I Romanticized My Childhood. Once upon a father, on a Friday night, his bowed knees settled just above a pair of softball league socks. There, a bird, who will always be his girl, was welcome to perch after his games. He was the king of beer and wings at the Pulaski Club, adorned in his trucker hat crown and the provincial gold ombre of a farmer's tan. He was the hero in her hurricane eyes, a second home of cloudless mirrors. Long ago, a pink balloon danced on his toes, the silk dress simplicity of a flower girl at his second wedding who believed in her chance to succeed. Let the knotted pines take custody of her wandering mind. It is best for daughters not to exact the flaws of their fathers. Best to conjure the prince and forget the frog, crooning the love song he wrote for her mother, as if the bird was his only glimpse into a locked attic. Nostalgia is like a fog undressing at golden hour. She caught it blushing. If she bends the light just enough, there he is again, a shadowless tower. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Steph Zine. I'm a spoken word poet. I'm from Maryland. I am a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner and a self-published author. So this piece is called Hummingbird Beauty and is featured in my latest book, Reflections of a Woman of Faith. People may see the contract, but not the contractions of wearing my heart on my sleeve that now fits like a glove. I'm striving to heal generations through self-love. I'm choosing faith over fear and hope over hurt for my heart to swell with laughter, love, and joy, no longer afraid of the voids, the holes, and the spaces anymore. My positive vibes increase the vibrations of others around me, now beating to the sound of my own drum, and each new day I live is a new beginning I'm open to experiencing, turning my deepest secrets into my greatest superpowers, empowers me to release what longer serves me so I can serve my soul flowers while I can still smell them. I pray before I die that my story will be someone else's survival guide, a hummingbird beauty, someone's call of duty to find love, to heal again, and a love letter to that person been lying in bed and hasn't seen beyond the four corners of the room in days. I pray that you will finally experience what solace looks and feels like. I once heard that love is what healing sounds like. Poem. Thank you. All right, so if you'd like to know more about my work, you can follow me on Instagram, StephZion1, StephZion1. Again, it's StephZion1 on Instagram, and my website is impactgreatness.com. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Y'all amazing, thank you.
Hi, everyone, my name is Queen, and I'm here to read a poem that I wrote about a jazz club that was torn down in the 1990s due to urban renewal. I just really didn't like the fact that things were being torn down in the community. And I connected to this jazz club, although I had never been in it, but I felt the vibe. And so I wrote this poem. The jazz club is called Connolly's. Connolly's. Walking down the street one warm summer night back in the day, the sweet, sultry sound of a saxophone tapped me on my shoulder and called out my name. You think that's crazy? I've been told that that's what jazz will do for you if you have the ear for it. It'll draw you in like bees to honey. And honey, let me tell you, that melody took me straight to Connolly's, a jazz joint on the corner of Whittier and Tremont Streets in Roxbury, like meeting a long-lost friend. Child, don't remember the name of that song, but it wrapped its arms around me and gave me a great big old hug. Fingers were snapping, toes were tapping, hands were clapping. The mellow groove of that place, those bebop days, felt like home. No point trying to relive those jazzy nights of 10,000 yesterdays ago. It's a vacant lot now, sprouting weeds. Yeah, Connolly's is gone, but no iPhone playlist can replace that live music vibe. But I can't go back to the old neighborhood without making a beeline to that spot where those sweet, sultry sounds started calling my name. And let me tell you, honey, I'm listening.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Sonny. It's great to be back here. Everyone who has performed so far has just been so incredible. I'm like speechless, so I'm going to do my best. This poem I'm going to share is probably my earliest memory. I was 2 years old, and I wasn't even sure if it was a memory or a dream. So I asked my parents, and they did confirm that this happened. If you were here during one of my last performances, I did a poem that was the last moment I shared with my grandfather, who goes by grandsire. So this poem has him in it too, but it's like the first moments I remember with him. So it's really cool. It's like both about external and internal discovery, but I just wrote it the way I remembered it. So here we go. My mom opens the door to our motel room, and sunlight spills in, sharp and golden. come see the orange trees, she says, her voice full of excitement. Trees with oranges growing on them? I've never seen such a thing. The sidewalk extends far in both directions, lined with so much orange, so bright in the sun. My family heads out for a walk, but I stay behind. I discover grandsire sitting across from me at a table. It had never been just the two of us before. I didn't even know he was a separate person from Grandma. I'm keeping you company, he says, serious, his thick eyebrows furrowed together. Company. That's a big word. I've heard it before, but I don't know what it means. Why is he speaking to me like an adult? Very nice of him to stay with me, though. I would have been just fine on my own. Thank you. Thank you so much. You can follow me on Instagram at Sonny Oram, SONNYORAM. And I just want to say, because she's going to be too modest to say so, Amanda Shea has a new website coming out that I designed. And it's going to be awesome. And you can get early access if you visit Amanda's Instagram, Amanda Shea all day. So check it out. Thank you very much.
Peace, everybody. How y'all doing this afternoon? First and foremost, I want to thank Amanda Shea. This is my second time doing Outspoken Saturdays, so I'm always honored to share the mic with my sister in poetry. So this piece I'm going to do is called Pen Be My Sword. It's pretty much a letter to those who are afraid to share their stories while everyone else has the confidence to do so. So always put that pen to the paper no matter what nobody tells you. And it goes like this. The pen tells the story for the voiceless ones. Black ink bleeds on the paper like paint to a canvas. No judgment zone here. No need to fear. I can hear your thoughts loud and clear. If only the paper had ears. Never felt the sense of betrayal through these blue lines. They remain calm and easy as I begin a new rhyme. Utter silence is therapeutic once the words leak. Listens closely for hidden messages when you speak. Been a long time since I went on the discovery. Direct me through this fairy tale of complex vocabulary. Luring out of me a wavelength of my truth for the next person. The show was not over until the curtain is closed. Lost asleep, will not eat unless the story is complete. Sonnet after sonnet, it never runs out. Adds value to my strength whenever the truth comes out. Peace and thank you.
Hi, y'all. I'm Abigail. I first want to say thank you. I'm so excited to be here with so many beautiful and captivating people, reading so many beautiful and captivating poems. I'm very grateful. I have some great people here, friends, family, those who've heard this poem a million times and those who are hearing it for the first time. Today, I want to give back to someone very special, so I'll be doing this for her. She sat starry-eyed in our purple-painted bedroom and made her first promises to us. She thought to herself, one day I won't let it all get to me, and I'll stop being such a picky eater, I guess. My childhood self now reads my frustration on my open palms. My dry, cracked skin feels rough to the touch. I moisturize daily and I sleep 8 hours a night, or so I tell my doctors. Me knowing when they say get well, it comes with the stipulation that it has to be soon, and that I'm trying my best to try it all, and that I tend to make my promises right before reality sets in. So I look at my hands and I hope for the answer. The same hands that put on my shoes to hide my soles from the cold ground, to walk to where I should have gone and do what I should have done, evading mirrors and whispering my grievances, stranger to love and liberation. I am a shell of who I told myself I'd be. But I finally make a decision. Today, I will resurrect angels, not demons. I will celebrate in the peace I feel when I look into her skies. And yes, I will remember the smiles that broke me to tears, the tears that taste like the ocean I would swim in. Protection pulling in her words. She speaks with sympathy I don't know what to do with, and consideration I'm not sure I deserve, but I have to trust her. Remembering the days she learned to count with her fingers, and would draw smileys on seam-lined windows, making pinky promises to me that one day we'll love freely and accept the future as a world of possibilities and take up so much space that we could never and would never and can't ever be contained. Because I know full well she's the one person that I could never lie to. Of course, she already knows the truth. Thank you. And I hope you all remember the promise you made to yourself, and you try to keep it today. So, thank you.
That's the practice in me. Peace, let me make sure I get this up. Peace, light, and love, amazing souls. My name is TiElla Grimes. I am here today as my whole self, spoken word alchemist on the mic. But in my daytime, I am a mindset coach, a generational relations advisor. I like to say I'm the ghost whisperer of the generations, and an empowerment speaker working with young people in our city. Today, I'm gonna be a little vulnerable with you all. So my uncle, Thomas Anthony Grimes, was a poet, a playwright, and an actor. He passed away 22 years ago on March 11th, 2003. And after his passing, I came across a poem that he wrote me, talking about the world. So I'm gonna share that here today for the very first time of its discovery. After that, I wrote a piece back to him in response to what he has shared with me, to reflect on the words that he had shared with me upon his passing. So the first piece is called Baby Girl, and it's by Thomas Anthony Grimes. It's your time, baby girl, to laugh, cry, sleep, and play, carefree in a world of hypocrisy, until age and time reaps its demands. Coronate you with expectations of being a woman, an achiever, reaching through rose-colored dreams, a kaleidoscope of fantasies, forever changing. Your time is coming, baby girl, to adjust. Accepting the hand-me-downs of reality, adapt to new ways of survival, sing new songs, and dance new dances, and carry on. Make your contribution, baby girl, and carry on. Thank you. Uncle Bo. In this time, Uncle Bo, I didn't know I would have to remember to laugh so often. It's hard to remember that when in the midst of crying a river riddled with pain. while drowning in confusion of why being carefree is so darn difficult. The hypocrisy of the messages we receive when we're young. And now here it is, age and time reaping its demands. There was no path and no depth to the explanation of what was going to be expected of me as a Black woman. Only hollow-filled words that left out the weight of society's expectations. The silencing of truth about the pressure one will put on themselves to be an achiever. I am continuously striving for my dreams to remain rose-colored and not gray. To keep viewing my fantasies through the kaleidoscope and not the tunnel. Learning that my evolution is forever changing. Time is in motion, Uncle Bo. To navigate through these hand-me-down realities and give myself permission to reject, to replace, and to redefine what no longer serves me spiritually. Make my own beat, move to my own rhythm, and carry on. I am making my contribution, Uncle Bo, and I will carry on. Thank you. You may follow me just simply at my name, TiElla Grimes. That is TiEllaGrimes. And if you are interested in learning more about the work that I do, you're looking for a speaker, you need somebody to empower your group of young people or the next group of people who are navigating transitions, because it is difficult out here. Follow me at The Inner Uplifter. That is just spelled out the way it is sound, The Inner Uplifter. Light and love.
Please give another round of applause to TiElla Grimes. That concludes our Outspoken Saturday for National Poetry Month. Give yourselves a round of applause for sticking with us the entire time. I want to thank each and every person here. Please remember our next Outspoken Saturday will be Saturday, May 2nd. Saturday, May 3rd. If you are interested in performing, please find Olivia at the blue table who can share more information about the registration. Before we go, I want to thank everyone who makes this possible, because it's not just me. Thank you to our wonderful team at the Newsfeed Cafe for serving us beverages and food all day. I want to thank the Boston Public Library here in Copley for hosting us every first Saturday. And to our GBH crew, Juan, Jose, Olivia, Maddie in the back, and Sandra, Lopez, Burke. I also want to give another thank you to our panelists, Myles, Taylor, Crystal, Valentine, Jadi, Amazi, our speakers, Monica, Christie, Steph, Queen, Sonny, Fox the Voice, Abigail, and TiElla. Thank you all for making this month so special. National Poetry Month would not be what it is without all of the writers, the poets, the lovers, the avid lovers of the word. So I thank you once again. My name is Amanda Shea. You can follow me at Amanda Shea all day, or you can subscribe to my new website at www.amandashea.com, designed and fully loaded by Sunshine, otherwise known as Sonny Oram. Thank you all, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your afternoon, and happy National Poetry Month!